Healing from postpartum depletion is not about just finding the right supplement or waiting until your baby's finally sleeping through the night. There is so much more to it than that. From your physical well-being, including hormones, blood sugar regulation, nutrient deficiencies, to your emotional and mental well-being, as well as your social circumstances and building that village. Hey mama, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Georgie and I'm a mother, a naturopath and nutritionist, and I'm on a mission to change the way that mums care for themselves in early motherhood and beyond. If you're a tired mum, you need my free guide, 7 simple steps to boosting your energy even if your baby wakes in the night. I've linked it right at the top of the description box below. You can jump below and grab your copy now. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that you need to be able to heal from postpartum depletion. The healing process usually occurs in multiple different stages, which occur across many months. I don't believe there is a quick fix to this, even if that quick fix, or you think that quick fix is going to be your baby sleeping through the night. Yes, maybe for some mothers this will definitely help their sense of exhaustion, but I work with lots of mums whose babies start sleeping through the night and then they're still exhausted and depleted, and that's when they come to seek my help, because they're like, shouldn't I be feeling better by now? My baby's sleeping, but they feel just as bad as they did before. The first step is having a thorough assessment of your health done, and really what I mean around this is having some postpartum blood work done. Far too often I will start working with a mum and she'll say, yep, I'm depleted, I'm exhausted, what should I do? Maybe she sought some help from her primary care provider, like her GP, around this exhaustion piece, and she was told, well, it's normal to feel exhausted, you're a new mum, or you've got a wakeful baby. And all of that depletion exhaustion that she's feeling is pinned down totally on new motherhood or a wakeful baby, and it's just not on. I've seen so many examples when we do go ahead and do that blood work, or I advocate for my client to get that blood work done with their GP, what comes up is clear imbalances around hormones and nutrient deficiencies. It's like these things alone would be dragging you down. And it's really important to know if they're there, because we want to get on top of them. So that's step 1, get a thorough assessment with some blood work. Step 2 is nourish your body. Now this is not easy in the context of being a new mum or an exhausted mum. It's often one of the things that is forgotten about first, nourishing our bodies, feeding ourselves. And unfortunately that leads to being depleted nutritionally and not giving our body the fuel it needs. And when I say extra fuel, I don't just mean extra energy, I mean more nutrition. And this really comes back around to the idea of nutrient density. It's like, let's increase the bang for our buck here with the foods that we're eating. So when we make a meal, when we make a snack, is that providing as much nutrition as it possibly can? I've done a whole video on nutrient density, so I won't go into detail on it here. I'll link it up there for you to watch. But it's absolutely crucial, because I mean, think about it. What's the alternative? We either eat nutrient dense foods, or we're eating nutrient poor foods or low nutrient density foods. And what those foods do is they might fill us up in the short term. You know, we eat a meal, we feel full, okay, great, we move on with our day. But what happens is our body expects that fullness, that sense of fullness, is also going to come with all the nutrients we need, the protein, the carbs, the fat, the vitamins and the minerals. And when it doesn't get those, it is going to send out the signal, I need more food. And that's when we might get cravings in between meals, energy drops after eating, feeling like we're never full, constantly hungry, and can just overall contribute to this sense of depletion. The body is really smart. It will continue to look and look and look for the food, well, the nutrition that it needs to nourish the body, and it will keep eating, it will keep looking for food, it will keep going until it gets what it wants. Not to mention just completely underfueling from an energy perspective, like enough energy actually going in, mum skipping meals, eating too little. This is something I see all the time. Number 3 is to protect your energy. There are lots of ways as new mums, as busy mums, as sleep deprived mums, that we are giving away our energy. When I think about postpartum depletion, I like to draw on a little bit of an analogy. If we think about a bucket is holding all of our body's reserves, all of the possible energy that it has to respond to things it needs to get up and go in life, to be focused, to be present, and for all the things going on inside our body that we're not even aware of, our respiration, our digestion, our hormones, everything inside, it all relies on this energy currency down at the cellular level. So our bucket holds our energy reserves. And in motherhood, we have all these holes at the bottom of the bucket that are leaking our energy reserves. It's sleep deprivation, it's breastfeeding, it's nutrient deficiencies, it's a complicated pregnancy, a complicated birth, it's the stress we feel in our transition into motherhood, it's family pressures, it's lack of social connection. All these holes are losing our energy. And then we have this situation where mothers are not topping up. So you've got your bucket and then it's blocked. We're not topping it up. We're not putting more energy in to balance out the energy out. It's quite simple, really. Energy in is not keeping up with energy out, and therefore we see this consequence of symptoms and this sense of depletion as a result. So the work that I do with mums is really about blocking up as many holes as we can so that we're not losing energy, and that comes around to like removing unnecessary stresses, really just focusing on the absolute essentials and letting go of things that aren't serving us in this phase of life, working on our emotional, mental health, building our mindset, things like that, so that we really control how much energy is being lost, as well as removing those barriers from the top of our bucket so that we can put more in. And so this is about like learning to prioritize ourselves and respect ourselves so much enough that we put ourselves higher up that to-do list and not let ourselves fall off the to-do list altogether. It's also sometimes about our social structures or building our village so that we are able to. And this isn't all on your shoulders, mama. This is so much bigger than that. It's about social and cultural and family level barriers that are stopping us from being able to top up our bucket. It's not about you just not prioritizing yourself. It's about helping you to move those barriers, remove that top of the bucket so that you can pour in and keep up with all these demands and be the mum you want to be and show up in the way that you want to show up for your family and for your kids, but also to nourish your body and to respect yourself. Protecting your energy is also about like identifying potential nutrient deficiencies, removing barriers to energy production, like I'm talking down on a biochemical level, as well as supporting systems intricately involved in energy production. Things like our liver, our adrenal glands, and our nervous system are all big factors here about whether the body is able to produce that energy currency. Regardless of, the higher level barriers up here, it's about down on the chemical level. So it's also about that too. That brings us to number 4. You need to nourish yourself. And when I say that, I don't mean your body, I mean like your sense of self, who you are as a person, your identity. Because in new motherhood, this is something that so many of us grapple with, is that shift in identity, the increased demand that's on us, that mental load, our shifting relationships, whether it's with our partner or our family or our parents or our friends, and about how the concept of self-care really morphs and shifts once we're in this early motherhood phase, and the context is completely different to what it was in our maiden phase. What served us then might not serve us now, or it just might not be possible. And so it's about redefining what self-care means for us in this phase of life. One other thing I would mention is that it's about finding a sense of purpose, having an outlet for our creativity. And a lot of mums find a lot of purpose in being a mother, in mothering, which is beautiful and wonderful, but there are many parts to us as women, and being a mother is just one. And that's whether you work outside the home in paid work or not. It's not necessarily about like working mum or not working mum. It's about us as people, us as holistic, rounded people, and having a purpose, a driven purpose in life, some sort of outlet where we can express ourselves, and staying in touch with or rediscovering new parts, new identities of ourselves. And the 5th and last thing you need to do to recover from postpartum depletion is to prioritize rest and protect your sleep. Now this one, when I start talking about sleep, mums get a little bit defensive, and I get it because I have been there. when you have a wakeful baby or you are sleep deprived, talking about sleep can feel like a lost cause. There's no point because my sleep is broken, it's interrupted, there's nothing I can do about it. And I get it. If you are taking a gentle, responsive, respectful, whatever kind of words you would identify with, whatever your value is there around responding to your baby in the night, it can feel like there aren't that many options available to you to work on the sleep piece. But I always tell mums, yes, we can't control the amount of sleep that you're getting, or we have little control over that, but we can focus on trying to improve the quality of the sleep you are getting. So, in a time we can't control quantity, we can focus on quality. And so this brings us back to sleep hygiene practices and habits. You might have heard of the term of sleep hygiene before. It refers to things that we can do to support good quality sleep, removing barriers that might be impacting that quality sleep, supporting our circadian rhythm or our body clock, regulating our nervous system so that it's nice and relaxed and can get that good sleep across the night when it's able to. Another way we can protect sleep is around, taking the path of least resistance in the actual practical aspects of how we sleep with our baby. Co-sleeping and or bed sharing can be a wonderful way for everyone involved to get more sleep, and really removing some of those barriers there that might be increasing the amount of time you're awake or that your baby's awake, and just making things that much more easier and more realistic for you if this is something that's longer term or ongoing. And then there's the prioritizing rest piece of this part of healing. So it's protecting our sleep, yes, but also prioritizing rest, which is something separate to sleep. It's about integrating pockets of rest into our day. And I know, again, with the sleep piece, when this comes up, this can feel so hard for mums. It might even be triggering because, some of us are so busy or just so overwhelmed that the thought of trying to integrate pockets of rest into your day is impossible. It won't exist. I have too much to do. I can't slow down. I can't stop for 1 second. Or you might not have the support you might not feel like you have the support to be able to achieve something like this. But I would encourage you to really examine your day and what you're doing, and just really have a think about what's absolutely necessary for you to be doing right now as a tired mum. Yeah, we all have to eat. We have to feed our families. We have to keep the house running. We need clean clothes. I get it. We need to do some of those things. They are, to an extent, non-negotiable. There are things we can do around that to make them easier, but, generally speaking, we still need to get those tasks done. Of course, we also have to care for kids 24/7. There's that part of it. But what else are you doing in your day that might not be, just in this phase of life while you're exhausted and depleted, be serving you that well, be a good use of your time and energy right now? So we can do a bit of an audit of our day and have a look at what can I let go of? In what ways can I slow down? But even if there aren't those opportunities necessarily, can we just weave 5 minutes here and there in our day to actually slow down and maybe even stop? And by that, I mean, sit on the couch and do nothing, or sit on the couch and do something that's grounding and relaxing for you, like sipping your cup of tea, mindfully enjoying a hot coffee, reading a few pages of a book, acknowledging that it's probably only going to be a few pages before you're needed or before you have to do something else. Try to weave these little micro moments in between tasks. So when you make breakfast and feed the kids and then you clean up and you're kind of ready for the next task, just take a minute or two, whether that's sitting down or, look out the window and look at nature. That can be very relaxing for us. And just stopping before you move on to the next task. And if you do this enough times throughout the day, this can really support us from our energy and a sense of calm and reducing that overwhelm. Because what we're doing here is, so much of the time as mothers, we're running in a heightened stress state. We're running in an activated nervous system state. You might have heard of the idea of fight or flight. We're kind of running up here, our engine's really revved up, and it's necessary a lot of the time to be able to keep up with everything we have to do. But what we want to do is bring the nervous system back down into the rested state, into parasympathetic mode. We want to reduce that sense of stress. And so if we do this throughout the day, you can think about a graph. It's going to be up here and then it will come down, even just for a minute, and we come up again and come down. And that's really where we want to get to, mother or not. Any person wants to punctuate their day with moments of calm, rest, relaxation. before heading out and doing the next thing. So there you have it, for 5 things that you need to do to heal from postnatal depletion. I cover these 5 things in detail, stepping you through how to do this, the what, why, and how in my new program, Nourish. It's a 6-week online group program for mums, and it's going to take you on a journey from exhausted and overwhelmed to energized and resilient and enjoying motherhood again. And good news, I've just opened the waitlist, and you can join the waitlist for the very best deal on this program, including lots of special bonuses, by jumping down to the description box and clicking that Nourish waitlist link. All right, that's it today. Thank you for being here and for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video next week.